You have been lied to about black holes. Possibly by me. Definitely by the universe. Picture the classic one, a cosmic vacuum cleaner, a bottomless pit floating in space that eats light, planets, and your motivation to finish a documentary. And at the very center, a point called a singularity, where everything you know about physics rolls over and quietly dies. Here's the problem. That singularity might not exist. And a growing pile of physicists in 2026 are finally saying the quiet part out loud. What if a black hole is not actually a black hole? Let us rewind. In 1916, a German physicist named Carl Schwarzschild worked out the math for black holes while sitting in a trench during World War I, because apparently relaxing had not been invented yet. His equations described a region of space so warped that nothing could escape, with a single, infinitely dense point at the core, the singularity. A place where density goes infinite, space and time tie themselves into a knot, and every physics professor starts sweating. For decades, this was just spooky math. Then, Roger Penrose, who later won a Nobel Prize for it, proved that if general relativity is correct, singularities are basically unavoidable. Stars collapse, and poof, infinity shows up. Case closed. Except infinity is a giant red flag. In physics, when your equation spits out infinity, it almost never means, congratulations, you found infinity. It means your theory just broke and is too embarrassed to admit it. A singularity is less a real object and more a flashing sign that reads, under construction, physics not available. So, what is actually down there? This is where it gets fun. Stephen Hawking poked the first hole in the story by showing that black holes are not perfectly black at all. They glow, very faintly, leaking particles we now call Hawking radiation, which means they slowly evaporate. A truly black, eternal pit should not do that. Strike one. Then, theorists asked a wilder question. What if the collapsing star never actually finishes the job? What if, instead of crushing down to an infinite point, matter gets squeezed until a strange, new kind of pressure, the type that only appears at insane quantum scales, slams on the brakes? You would get an object that looks exactly like a black hole from the outside. Same gravity, same darkness, same ability to ruin your entire week. But inside, no singularity. Just an extremely dense, extremely grumpy ball of stuff. Physicists have a whole zoo of these impostors. Gravastars, proposed by Pavel Mazur and Emil Matola, swap the singularity for a bubble of exotic energy. There are Planck stars, and frozen stars, and a parade of other names that honestly sound like rejected energy drinks. But they all share one cheeky idea. The universe might be faking the one part we are never allowed to see. And in 2026, this stopped being pure fantasy. Fresh theoretical work suggested that when a massive star collapses, the math may not actually demand a singularity after all. Meanwhile, gravitational wave detectors like LIGO and Virgo have been quietly cataloging black holes smashing into each other, listening for faint echoes that a perfect event horizon should never make. If those echoes are ever confirmed, the textbook black hole is in very deep trouble. So why should you care, as someone who has never personally fallen into one? Because the black hole is where our two best theories of reality go to throw hands. General relativity, which rules the enormous, insists singularity. Quantum mechanics, which rules the tiny, says absolutely not, that is illegal. They cannot both be right. Whatever is truly at the center of a black hole is probably the single biggest clue we have to the theory that finally unites everything. The holy grail physicists have been chasing for a century with increasingly caffeinated desperation. The most mysterious object in the universe might not be a hole at all. It might be a door. We just have not figured out how to read the sign on it. So yes, you have been lied to about black holes. But here is the better truth. Nobody actually knows what is inside one. Not me, not Hawking, not the universe, which is being extremely cagey about the whole thing. So if a black hole is not really a hole and the singularity might be a myth, what do you think is hiding in there?